Hello students, today as you see the topic that we are going to say is aliasing effect, very popular effect and many times we will hear this term right now as well as in the next upcoming communication subjects. So what is aliasing and why this happens? So this is connected with the sampling theorem. So in sampling theorem, and when we have seen the statement, we have assumed that how it had started a continuous time, finite energy, low pass band limited signal. So this was all the things that we have assumed when we are writing statement of a sampling theorem. Okay. So in sampling theorem, we had assumed that the message signal x of t is band limited. But in nature, we cannot have any signal which can be band limited. So for example, if I'm producing an analog, analog voice signal, right? Audio signal. So now when we are talking, I'm talking in generating audio signal, I cannot limit the frequency in which I am talking. So this is a fact that whatever signals are produced naturally or whatever practical signals are there, they are time limited. So practical signals are time limited. If I am talking right now, I am producing an audio signal. If I stop talking, the signal will stop, right? So I can limit. If someone is saying me, you only talk for 10 seconds, I will just talk for 10 seconds, and for this 10 seconds, my voice signal will be recorded. So I will stop at 10 seconds. So I can just limit it in time. But whatever frequencies are generated here, they cannot be limited. That means what? You cannot band limit this signal. So whenever the signal is time limited, it cannot be band limited. So when we are saying that if some signal is time limited, for sure that signal cannot be a band limited signal. Okay, and this is our first assumption for sampling theorem, that the signal has to be band limited. Okay, so now because of this, such a time limited but non band limited signal is sampled with a sampling frequency fs hertz. Okay, so now I am having a signal which is not band limited. So actually we are, whatever assumption we have done or we have taken while proving the sampling theorem, we are not following this assumption and we are saying that my signal is not band limited. So in that case, what happens? When the signal is not band limited and if I try to sample such a non-band limited signal, it is going to result definitely into overlapping spectrums. So this is what we have seen, right? X of t, if I am sampling, I get g of t, or the x of t is represented in frequency domain as x of omega, that is will result into g of omega, and we have seen the g of omega is nothing but, if x of omega is this particular contains these frequencies from omega m to minus omega m, then g of omega will have the replicas or repeated spectrums, right? Depending on whatever sampling frequency you are taking, if we are following the sampling theorem, we will get this. But in case when the signal is not band limited, so this is for band limited signal, whatever was shown, this x of omega, this was for band limited signal. But if that x of omega is not band limited, then how it will look like? That here we have limited it to omega m frequency. Now we are assuming that the signal is not band limited, so frequencies will go till infinity. So my frequency spectrum of x of omega will be like this, and somewhere at infinity it will become 0. Now if I sample such a signal which is not band limited to any frequency and all the frequencies are present, definitely this is going to produce G of omega as. So the G of omega is going to be, this will be the first spectrum which will be present at 0, right? Then we know that in G of omega we get replicas at interval what? Omega s, right? So at omega s you will get another replica of the spectrum of x of omega. At minus omega s you will get another replica of x of omega, and this will continue till infinity. So this is what the spectrum will result into if we sample a non-band limited signal. Now looking at this spectrum, you can see all these signals are overlapping each other, and because of this the x of omega will no longer have complete information of, G of omega will no longer have complete information of x of omega. And even if we are using a filter here, that is the interpolation filter we have talked about in the last lecture to recover the signal back. So even if I am using that ideal filter here, it is not possible for me to recover x of omega. So what was I was expecting that if I apply a filter here, I should get back this. But if you see here, if I apply that filter that we have talked about, the interpolation filter, which is ideal low pass filter having a cutoff frequency of omega m, and that omega m can be represented as omega s by 2, right? We can write omega m as omega s by 2. So I can just write here as cutoff frequency as omega s by 2 and minus omega s by 2. Okay, because we know that Fs is equal to 2Fm. So Fm will be equal to Fs by 2. So I can write omega m is equal to omega s by 2. So this is what I have written. So even if I am applying a filter here with this cutoff frequency, you can see that what you are getting in the output. If I apply a filter here, I am going to get this particular spectrum up to this, right? Because there is a cutoff here as well as cutoff here. So I am going to get this spectrum up to this, as well as I am going to get the part of this particular signal, part of this particular signal, and so on, right? So this is not what is expected as to recover back the original signal x of t, right? So that's why if you are having a band limited signal, it is not possible. Even if I increase the sampling frequency, what will happen? This lobe will shift somewhere a little bit here, this lobe will shift a little bit here, right? That means the overlapping will reduce, but you cannot eliminate the whole overlapping. Somewhere the overlapping will be there, and that overlapping is going to distort our reconstructed signal. So there are two reasons for this, why this is happening. Okay, so let's see this properly. Let's draw this properly first. So we got the problem that if I am having a non-band limited signal, so the band is not limited and it will go up to infinity, and that's why all these overlapping spectrum, all these spectrum will overlap each other. So there are two reasons for this. The first is the loss of tail of G of omega. We'll draw and see. The loss of tail of G of omega, which from where? Beyond the cutoff frequency that we have decided, that is omega m or omega s by 2. So wherever the omega is greater than omega s by 2, this mod is taken because it is applicable for positive as well as for negative side. So if you go beyond this particular frequency, whatever the tail of that spectrum is there, that will be lost after applying the reconstruction filter. And then second is This is not the only problem. There is one more problem. The reappearance of the tail. So whatever tail has been cut off, the tail is going to reappear. How it is going to reappear? Inverted and folded back. Onto the spectrum. And we'll see this. We'll draw it properly and we'll see. So So this is what we have drawn. We have to draw G of omega. So you have to keep in mind that x of omega is not band limited. So we get G of omega here like this. So the G of omega, we have the spectrum of the replicated spectrum of x of omega. So the first spectrum is like this. Right? It is going till infinity. Then there will be second replica at what time or at what interval it is going to be at. If this is 0, the next will be at, because this is my Ts and this is, so not Ts, this is omega s and this is minus omega s. So here there will be another replica like this. Right, and here there will be another replica like this, and it is going to happen till the infinity. But right now we are taking only into the consideration with these three replicas, because what is important here is this particular lobe which is centered about the origin or centered about 0, that we wanted to recover or get back, so that from here we can reconstruct our original signal, that is x of t. Okay, so this is the most important thing in our picture. So here if I am trying to this is what the spectrum I will get after sampling the signal. So this is the spectrum of a sample signal, and here if I am applying a filter, that is our reconstruction filter, or we can say interpolation filter, whose cutoff frequency is omega s by 2. So what is happening when I apply the filter? See, whatever inside the filter, everything I am going to get in the output, and whatever is the outside of the filter, everything will be eliminated. So the first thing that has been eliminated is this thing. You can see this is the whole lobe that actually, or the whole spectrum that we wanted to recover back, so that we can reconstruct x of t properly. But what is happening, because this filter is having cutoff here, after this cutoff frequency there is some part of this the spectrum of present here, which, and obviously on this side also, this is called as the tail of G of omega. So what is happening, if I am applying the filter with a cutoff frequency omega s by 2, or we can say omega m, then what is happening, whatever is going beyond, whatever the signal part is there beyond this frequency is going to cut off. So whatever is represented in black, that actually is the data that we are losing. Now what is that data we are losing? This all the data is of high frequency, right? Because here we are at 0. So as we are going away from 0, these are the low frequency region, and as we are going away, this is the high frequency region. So whatever high frequency components are present in my signal that I have transmitted, all these high frequency components that we are losing because of this going beyond the filter cutoff frequency. So this is the first problem that we have. Even with this problem we can sustain. Even we can just cut this tail, and if we are able to get only this portion, that like this, that is also okay. Because sometimes before that also, even with this signal we can reconstruct our original signal with some loss. But the problem here is the second one, that is reappearance of this tail. This tail which was cut off, this tail is again reappearing. How it is reappearing? Inverted and folded back onto the spectrum. So this is our expected spectrum, and as you can see, this particular tail, so this and this tail is identical because it is of same signal. This tail seems like it is folded back onto the spectrum, right? So you can see this portion which is identical to the tail that is been cut off here, but it is appearing in the spectrum. Now all these are high frequencies, right? Because as this portion is representing high frequency component, all these are also representing high frequency component. But right now, because it is folded back onto the signal, they are appearing in low frequencies. Because here, this is our low frequency region, right? So high frequency components are showing their appearance in low frequency region. So this is the big problem, okay? Because this folding back of this tail is going to corrupt my signal a lot, the spectrum of the signal a lot. Okay, so this is the big problem. Now because of this, what will happen? I will not get the spectrum like this. So even as I have told you, even if we are losing this tail, that is okay, because I can get this particular portion. But now because this tail is folded back and now my high frequency components are appearing in this low frequency region or appearing in the low frequency region, they are going to interfere the contents present over here, and finally if I get its resultant of these two, because this is the portion and this is inverted, right? So if I get the resultant of this, the resultant will appear here like this. On this side also. Okay, so this was actually my shape of the spectrum, but because of this folded back tail, I will get the resultant of this, and this will be like this. Okay, so when you apply a filter here, what you will get? So if I apply this filter h of omega here, what will be the output? The output will be, this is minus omega s by 2 and plus omega s by 2. This was our filter, and you will get this particular portion in the output. Okay, and from here it is cut off. So you will get it like this. This is the output of h of omega, that is nothing but the spectrum of x of omega, or I'll write x cap omega, because this is not resembling at all to our original signal. So we started with a spectrum like this. This was our expected spectrum of x of omega, and because of all these things, or because of all these problems, because the signal is not band limited, all the spectrum overlap with each other, after applying this filter h of omega, we have lost the tail, and this tail is appearing as folding back, or it is folded back again into the low frequency component, and it is interfering the high frequency components are interfering the low frequency component, and after applying it to this filter, what we are getting is this. This not at all resembles with the original signal spectrum, and because of this, from here we cannot recover our original signal back. So whatever signal is reconstructed from this, obviously this signal is going to be very distorted signal, very much data will be lost. And this is called as aliasing. This tail inversion, what is happening here, is called as aliasing. Aliasing means what? Aliasing means, or aliased means misunderstood. The low frequency components are aliased as the high frequency components are aliased as low frequency components, or the high frequency components are misunderstood as low frequency components, or they are disturbing the low frequency components, and here we are losing the data. This is the meaning of aliasing. So this process of tail inversion is called as aliasing. Now what is the solution? Solution is started with violating one of the assumption that we have made in the sampling theorem, that my signal is not band limited. So we have violated that condition. So the solution is what? To stick to that condition, that my signal, whatever signal I wanted to sample, that should be band limited. So if my signal is band limited, what will happen? I will lose high frequency components, some of the high frequency components, but still this much problem or this much lost or this much corruption, the corrupted signal will not appear. So for that we have to use a filter which is called as anti-aliasing filter. Because we do not want aliasing to happen, this filter name is given anti-aliasing filter. What is the job of this filter? To make the signal band limited, isn't it? To make the signal band limited. So if you make the signal band limited, so is what? If I am having my signal x of t having, and its frequency spectrum is like this, which is x of omega. Before sampling only, before I send this signal for sampling, I will first pass this signal through a filter. Which filter? Anti-aliasing filter, whose cutoff frequency I have to decide that the cutoff, there will be some cutoff frequency, and that cutoff frequency you can select omega s by 2 or your omega m. And then what will happen? The output of this is going to be what? In all this frequency band, somewhere there will be a value omega m, right? Like suppose here is the value of omega m and this is minus omega m. So output of this, after this filter, my frequency spectrum will look like what? Like this. So this is minus omega m and plus omega m. All the high frequency components we are just neglecting or we are eliminating. Obviously, as I've told you, whenever we lose some components, there is a loss. But sometimes this loss is, we can say, we can sustain with this loss, but the loss which is happening later on in aliasing, that is a bigger loss. So here what we are doing, we are just losing that tail. But once this tail is not there, it will not reappear. So even if here, if I consider this, so this will be my x of omega. But now here if I am drawing g of omega, what you will get? You will get replicas of this, right? So you will get replicas of this, like this. Something like this. So here there will be no question of overlapping the frequency spectrum, and that's why the aliasing will not happen. So we are only losing here all the frequencies which are above omega m or omega s by 2, but at least whatever low frequency components we have, at least they will be retained properly and they can be recovered properly when we are reconstructing our original signal back. There is one more advantage of anti-aliasing filter. So it will not, this aliasing will not happen because of this, and second is it is going to remove the noise also. So if after this there is some noise signals are present, after this particular cutoff frequency, whatever noise signals are present, all these noise signals or noise spectrum will also be removed because of this anti-aliasing filter. Okay? So this is another advantage of anti-aliasing filter. Now where do we use it? Please remember that anti-aliasing filter has to be used before sampling. So once you get the signal, suppose I am recording a voice now. So once I recorded the voice, I will first pass that voice signal through an anti-aliasing filter. Okay, I will make the cutoff frequencies from minus omega m to plus omega m. Once that particular signal is generated with a band limited, which will be a band limited signal, then it will be sampled and then it will be digitized. Okay, so please remember this. Now obviously, right now in previous class also and one class, I want to make one point clear. In previous class we have seen anti-aliasing filter, and this is also a in previous class we have seen interpolation filter, and here what we have seen, an anti-aliasing filter. So again, this also we have considered as a ideal low pass filter. And if you see the interpolation filter, that also is an ideal low pass filter. But as we know, we cannot actually implement, or in practical we cannot use an ideal filter, right? We cannot process it, or we cannot design a ideal filter. So this is the problem, that these filters are unrealizable. Okay, so in practice, instead of this, what we use is a steep cutoff filter. So ideal low pass filter means what? Whose cutoff will be very sharp, like this, straight. Cut means cut. So here the signal will be present, here the signal will be absent. But in practice we are not able to design a filter like this. So in practical, our filter may be something like this. Okay, so it will not stop at actually omega m, but it will have some few more frequencies beyond omega m also. So in both the cases, in case of interpolation filter and in case of anti-aliasing filter, both these filters are we cannot actually realize them. They are unrealizable. So in this case, which filter we are using? We are going to use some filter like this, which will be having a steep cutoff. So this is called as steep cutoff. So we are not having a sharp cutoff, but there will be some transition lag. Similarly, in case of interpolation filter, instead of using interpolation filter, there we use something called as equalizer. Instead of you will go across this term equalizer. So instead of interpolation filter, we use an equalizer to reconstruct the original signal path. Okay, so I hope that this particular concept of aliasing and anti-aliasing filter is clear to you. For any doubts, you can give me a message. I will clear your doubts. Thank you.